Hello everyone, back to today's first video doing JMA Friday. For today's first video, as always on a Friday, we're going to have a detailed look at the weather for the next month. This takes us into the second half of August. We don't quite go to the end of August with this update, but we're running down towards the final part of the month, most definitely. And the final part of summer 2018. It's been a spectacular summer so far. It's been tremendously hot and also extraordinarily dry as well. Could be record-breaking heat today. We could be breaking records with 37 degrees, 99 Fahrenheit possible across some parts of the extreme southeast. There will be an increasing risk of thunderstorms breaking out, though, so that could just mean that we avoid that record, that we don't get it. It just depends how much cloud and storms bubble up this afternoon. But it is certainly very, very hot out there yet again. Once this goes through, it will cool down. And we'll have more about this in today's second video update. That'll be with you this afternoon. We've also got the ENSO updates for July 2018 coming up as well later on today. So another busy day at Gazo. The updates are coming thick and fast at the moment. Hope you're enjoying all of the content. So we will begin today's updates with JMA Friday as always. So we're going to start off by having a look at the 500 millibar height anomaly flowcharts from the JMA model. We've got the North Pole view down to start off with. So this is the North Pole of the Northern Hemisphere just there. Mid-latitudes of the Northern Hemisphere are around there. The British Isles, it's job to make out because of the colours just there. So red, yellow, orange extrapolates to high pressure, blue to low pressure. These are the flow charts broken down into weekly periods. So the first weekly period will take us from today, the 27th, through to the 3rd of August, 27th July to 3rd of August. So the coming week finds that we've got a trough of below average heights in the Atlantic. That's trying to re-establish our more typical westerly flow, but we've still got this block of high pressure within the atmosphere sitting to our east and to our northeast, blocking off the Atlantic, blocking off the usual westerly flow that we expect in the UK and across North and West Europe. So the jet stream, it is a little bit closer to us in the week ahead, so it will be a little bit more unsettled at times. But overall, it's a high pressure that remains in control, and it will be bringing in these warm, very warm or hot, particularly hot to start off with, southerly to southeasterly winds. That's how things are looking for week 2. This is from the 3rd through to the 9th of August, with a big area of above average heights then just taking over the pattern. So if this is right, high pressure becomes increasingly dominant through this first week of August. I have to say, some of the shorter range model output this morning, not quite so sure about this. We'll talk about it in today's second video update, but the JMA, the seasonal long-range model, wants to have high pressure really dominant through this first week of August, so it turns very dry and it remains very warm or hot, with winds continuing to come from an easterly direction through the first week of August. That's the 3rd to the 9th. And then we're up to weeks 3 and 4. This takes us from the 9th through to the 24th of August. So as I say, we're running down the clock towards the final stages of the month with weeks 3 and 4. We have above average heights again centred to the north of the British Isles. What's happening there is that the high pressure with time looks like it's going more towards Iceland and Greenland, with below average heights underneath it. So possibly a little bit of a breakdown trying to take place further south, particular, maybe some thunderstorms there. But essentially it's still the above average heights, it's still the high pressure that is in control and would be bringing lots of very warm or hot weather to many parts of the country through that period. Remember, it's a 2-week anomaly, so it might be transition. It could be something like week 3, still has a high pressure dominating, so very warm and dry. There may be some sort of breakdown taking place in week 4, which would be kind of like the 15th or 16th of month through to the 24th. So you have to bear that in mind with a 2-weekly anomaly. Might be a bit transitional, but overall the JMA is signalling a very warm and largely quite dry August ahead, I think. Let's have a look at the tropical and mid-latitude views. So these again, 500 millibar heights are visualized in the top right-hand corner of the chart as you're looking at it. Reminder of week 1, 500 millibar height anomaly. We've got below average heights in the Atlantic with above average heights over and to the east of the UK. We can't really see Scandinavia on this view, but this sort of red area just here, that's a mass of above average heights that's sitting to the east and northeast of the country. So let's have a look at the temperature anomaly in the week ahead, and it's coming out very warm to hot, way above average in those yellow colours, between 1 and 3 degrees above average. Very hot, seen across many parts of Europe as well for the 27th of July to the 3rd of August. Precipitation anomalies, a little bit wetter than average for Scotland and Northern Ireland, interestingly, drier than average for England and Wales. That's probably primarily down to wet weather that's coming in on Sunday. Going to be quite wet on Sunday, particularly in the western part of the country, and also probably down to thunderstorms as well. Maybe a little bit surprising, but it's going for a wetter than average week ahead for Scotland and Northern Ireland. That's week 2, so again it's the 3rd to the 9th of August with above average heights. They're in over the UK, they extend back to our east. So basically in this first week of August, high pressure really takes over the pattern and becomes very strong and dominant. It means that another heat wave is off and running, so temperature anomalies are coming out well above average. Again, the anomaly is somewhere between around 2 to 3 degrees above average, maybe even a little bit more. So a hot week there through the first week of August. And also drier than average for the whole of the country, which you expect with high pressure sitting slap bang over top of the UK. So hot and dry for the first full week of August. And then we go through to weeks 3 and 4, takes us from the 9th through to the 24th of August, with the above average heights then generally to the north of the UK, but to the northwest and also to the northeast as well. If we come over here, we extend back to the northeast also, with below average heights to our south. Let's have a look at the temperature anomaly. So that remains warmer than average, be a hot August, if this is right, with temperature staying above average pretty much from beginning to end, although we do still have one more week of August left there. But a very, very warm August anyway coming up if the JMA is right today. Precipitation anomalies show that for most parts of the country it is a drier than average 2-week period as well, from the 9th to the 24th. But notice it is a bit wetter than average to our south. So that trough to the south is getting closer to us and possibly threatening, I would have thought, thunderstorms, but maybe thundery rain into some southern parts of the country. I would suspect that's particularly for week 4. Probably week 3 is still pretty dry, but week 4 may be some sort of breakdown beginning to come into the south and the southwest. It's a very long way off though, of course. I think generally we can say the JMA is going for a hot and dry August this week. Let's have a look at CFS V2, see if that's in agreement. So again, means a 500 millibar heights. They're broken down into weekly periods. The first week period would take us from the 27th of July to the 2nd of August. The coming week has below average heights out west, a big block of above average heights to the east of the northeast. The flow and the jet stream is going like that. So perfect agreement between the CFS V2 and the JMA. We're between high pressure to the east, low pressure to the west. We're sucking up these hot southerly winds, so it'll be a very warm to hot week, but also with the threat of heavy showers and thunderstorms in the west. That's particularly for the first part of this period. Then we go through to week 2, the 3rd to the 9th of August. Look at this, in agreement with the JMA again. So we have this big area of above average heights becoming pretty much centred over the top of the UK. That area below average heights is shoved down to the southwest to be off the coast of Portugal. And so that's just very dry and hot through that week, with high pressure dominating the weather. The winds are in from the east. Again, I have to say the shorter range model output this morning is a bit wobbly about this first week of August. I will talk about that in today's second video. But the longer range models, the CFS and the JMA, are both in agreement that this high pressure takes over through the first week of August. If anything, it becomes even hotter and drier. And then we go through to week 3, which takes us from the 10th to the 16th of August, with signs of the above average heights just moving a little bit more to the northwest of the country. So that's kind of in agreement with what JMA is showing as well. High pressure still in control. It's still very warm to hot. We're still bringing in these southerly to southeast winds. The only difference is that with pressure weakening a little bit to our southwest, we're possibly threatening a thundery breakdown into southern and southwestern parts of the country. And then through to week 4, and this one looks rather different. This is the 17th through to the 23rd of August. And the area of above average height spread is being moved back into the east of Europe. That's the block that's been sitting over and to the east northeast of the UK for so very long, since back into May. And just signs there, but in the second half of August, that block of high pressure is possibly getting pushed back into the east and northeast of Europe, maybe into western Russia, which it doesn't really show it turning unsettled, but we've got below average heights to the north. And you will think as the high pressure gets pushed back into eastern Europe, that will probably start to allow some sort of influence to come in from the Atlantic, from the jet stream. So just maybe some hints there, but in the second half of August, the pattern is starting to break down. The blocking pattern, I mean, that's given us this hot summer is beginning to break just a little bit. It's week 4 though, so it's a very long way out. Temperature anomalies in the week ahead look like that. This is from the 27th of July, 2nd of August, coming out hotter than average for the UK. Look how hot it is across most parts of Europe as well. Really, really hot conditions there. But over in America, actually a very cool week coming up. The northern, eastern and northeastern parts of the states. So there is cool conditions in the northern hemisphere this summer, but it's not in the west of Europe. Week 2 is forecast to be very, very hot indeed. This is the 3rd to the 9th of August. Look at this. We're almost off the scale in terms of the temperature anomaly from the CFS V2 for the UK and Ireland. Europe is included in that as well. The temperature anomaly is 3 to 3.5 degrees above average. That's as high as it goes in terms of the scale with this. So that's a really, really hot week there that the CFS, and I have to say the JMA is in agreement with this. Both models are forecasting a really hot week from the 3rd through to the 9th of August. That week could be very hot indeed. Week 3 is also hotter than average. It's the 10th to the 16th of August. Less so than week 2. So the anomaly has gone from kind of like being off the scale hot to around 2 degrees above average. So it's still a very hot week indeed from the 10th to 16th of August. But is a slightly lower level compared to that intense heat wave that the CFS is predicting from the 3rd to the 9th of August. And then we go through to week 4, which is the 17th to the 23rd of August. Still warmer than average, but the temperature anomaly is starting to come down. So you'll notice that now the temperature anomaly is kind of like 0.5 degree to around 1.5 degrees above average, something like that. So very gradually, after that intense heat through the early part of August, the anomaly does begin to drop back a little bit, but stays warm than average. And this is shaping up to be another hot month if these two models are right. They're both going for a very, very warm August indeed, except we can't say about the final week of the month, of course, but till that last week of the month, both models are predicting a very warm to hot August indeed. Finally, having a look at the precipitation anomalies for month ahead from the CFS V2. So, the coming week, 27th of July to 2nd of August, a little bit wetter than average for the far north and northwest of the country. Average to a bit drier than average in the south and southeast. That is broadly in line with what the JMA is showing as well. Week 2, which is the 3rd to the 9th of August, where we get that big high pressure centred over top of the UK and a tremendous heat wave taking place as well. We see that the precipitation on it is drier than average too, so that's a very hot and dry start to August. Then we've got week 3, which is the 10th to the 16th of August. The scenery is beginning to weaken, but still driving average in the north, or to the north of the country, close to average elsewhere. Week 4, which is the 17th, 23rd of August, that one is coming out average with the precipitation. Notice, though, much of Central Europe is going wetter than average, so I do think some sort of breakdown is being hinted at there. From around the middle of August into the second half of the month, we're beginning to shunt the block that's been with us since May. We're beginning to shunt that back to the east of Europe and to the west of Russia, and presumably that does allow the jet stream to start to dip back in from the Atlantic, and so it would turn, but it doesn't really show it in terms of the temperature. Normally it would turn cooler, and it would also turn more unsettled as well, probably very thundery initially. There's a lot of energy within the atmosphere to be released after all these weeks and weeks and weeks of hot and dry weather, so potentially really thundery around the middle of August, and then maybe going something a little bit cooler and more unsettled. But that's all a very long way off, and for the more reliable period, which is kind of like the next 2 weeks, it does look as though the heat wave continues. If these models are right, we're shaping up for a very hot and dry start to August. There may be something a little bit more unsettled into the second half of the month. That's how JMA Friday is looking this week. It could all look very different next week because these long-range models are highly experimental and they are prone to chopping and changing. So just going to have to wait and see how it pans out. But that's how it's looking this week. Right, so coming up this afternoon, we're going to have a look at the weather for the next week to 10 days. That will include all of the heat wave latest, including whether we're on course to break any records in terms of the hot temperatures today. And also, today I've got the ENSO update coming up as well for July. So keep checking that for all of the updates. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.